Selena Gomez did not even get naked. The first movie that I'm going to review for you guys is Spring Breakers. I originally wanted to make a review the first time I saw it, which was opening night. But I knew just something about it. I would watch this multiple times. I wanted to make sure that I had a clear and solid thought and opinion about this movie before I made the video. Now that I watched it twice, I think I know what to say about this movie. I'm gonna be wearing my glasses for the rest of this video because I cannot see. I am gonna cheat because I wrote a movie review the night I saw it, the opening night. If I look at my screen, I'm just looking at my review. What I have to say about Spring Breakers. For those of you who know me, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, you know the real reason why I wanted to watch Spring Breakers. If I had to describe this movie, it would have to be, you would not expect that coming. Trust me. For those of you who saw the trailer and were expecting Project X, 21 and Over, Piranha 3D, Hangover, just the typical Hollywood movie, it's not that. And I can guarantee you that a lot of the other reviews that you see online will tell you the same thing. I don't know why people constantly keep comparing those movies. I can see why they would. I understand that because of the trailer. It's not even the same thing whatsoever. Even though a lot of people don't listen to critics, there is still a reason why the critics liked Spring Breakers over Project X, 21 and Over. I'm not gonna lie, the first time I saw it alone. And I enjoyed it alone because this movie will make you feel so awkward. The second time I saw it, which was not too long ago, I watched it with another friend of mine. It's so awkward. If you watch this with friends, you're warned. What I liked about the movie, the way the movie was told, the way this movie was presented, it was like a beautifully crafted poem. It flowed really nicely. I'm not necessarily a big fan of Harmony Korine, but I did watch his films Kids and Gummo, and those movies were dark, gritty, and real, just like Spring Breakers. Those of you who do not know about Harmony Korine's style of filming or his main objectives for movies, I can understand why you would hate this movie, because a lot of people do not get that this movie was intentionally idiotic. A lot of people don't get that. I would understand why people would be walking out of the theater asking themselves, what did I just watch? I would get why people would hate the movie, saying this is some just random BS put together and it was just full of randomness and pointless. Those of you who do not know Harmony Korine, by now you probably heard this many times already, but to me this movie is a satire and a social commentary of the partying, the sex, drugs, violent pop culture. It's making fun of the exact things you see in the movie. There were two scenes in the movie. There was a scene in the beginning where they were driving on the road. That scene was amazingly shot. There was another scene which was, I'm pretty sure you heard it by now because every review says this, it was the montage with the Britney Spears song Every Time. I loved that scene, and watching it 2 times makes me love it even more. The whole contradictory, the whole song choice, the choice of colors, the choice of the cast. Oh, let me speak about the cast. James Franco was amazing in this role. He really got into his character. Really got into it, and you can tell that he put a lot of work into it. As for the Disney stars, Selena Gomez and Vanessa Hudgens, they were great. It really showed that they really wanted to be known as a more serious actor. Same with Ashley Benson, the girl from Pretty Little Liars. I couldn't have asked for a better cast. But I feel that the way it was casted is also part of the reason why some people hated it. Another reason why some people hated it was they saw it as a racist movie. This movie is based upon interpretation. There was a scene in the movie where Selena Gomez's character, her name is Faith, She enters a pool hall with a bunch of black people. A lot of people took that scene when she was crying, feeling uncomfortable, as being racist. What did you guys think? Did you think that part was racist? A lot of the guys were acting too much with their penis, which is quite understandable because, it does have a lot of boobs in it. Many people think that this is just another booby flick or a party flick, and it's not. It's so much more different. It's so surprising to me that a lot of the reviews from guys, a lot of them were just about, oh, yeah, boobs. That was the first thing that came out of their minds. The things that annoyed me the most, and I'm pretty sure it annoyed everybody else too. The repetitive scenes, the repetitive voiceovers, the annoying parts, the most annoying parts of the movie was ultimately what made me love the movie even more. It made the movie flow like a poem, like I stated earlier in this review. The visual just added to the effect. It made it seem like a dream. It was like I was in an acid trip, basically, and I don't even do drugs. It was beautiful. For those of you still debating whether or not you should see this, go see it. Okay, here's the thing about people who do not like the movie. I respect you, and I understand you. Some people just don't get it, and some people do not get Korine's filming style. There are tons of reasons why people don't like it, just like there are tons of reasons why people don't like any other movie. You cannot please everyone. This movie in particular is not for everyone. I'm not going to be forcing people to like the movie. The people who I do not respect are those people who dislike a movie and feel the need to force it upon everybody else. Constantly go on forums or talk to people and try to talk them down on seeing it. I know you don't like it, but it's one thing to dislike a movie, but it's totally a different thing when you're disrespecting the people who do like the movie. I feel that people cannot think for themselves nowadays. When you see a movie review or when you hear from your friends that a movie is bad, instantly they let other people judge the movie for them. That's what I don't like. I don't want that to happen. I want people to think for themselves, and even if you see a movie review and it's bad, I want you to think for yourself. Do you want to watch this movie? And form your own opinion. Some people claim their opinions as facts, and that's what I see every day. Another big complaint about the film was the lack of dialogue, lack of script. There is no plot in this movie whatsoever. To me, I don't see that as an argument for this movie in particular. Even though there was lack of dialogue, I didn't really care for it. I felt the visuals and the actions and the dialogue and monologues that were in the movie presented itself well enough to be able for you to understand it. I don't feel that there needs to be a 500-page script full of dialogues for a film to be great. That's just me. As long as the movie visuals, as long as the actions, as long as everything speaks for itself, I believe that silence in a movie can be just as powerful and impactful to the audience. In the end, this is all just my opinion. Not all, but I know a lot of people who watched it walked out feeling disturbed and violated. I think that's what Korine intended to happen. And that's what makes me like it even more. The more I think about it, the more I'm convinced that this movie is talking about how people have this warped up perception of freedom. Just do anything they like, anything they want without consequences. They don't see that sometimes their actions affect other people. I'm going to go on a little tangent here. A lot of people think that it's the 21st century generation is becoming more sex crazed or drug crazed. Many generations ago, they were doing the exact same thing in the 50s, the 60s, 70s, 80s. The only reason why it seemed so innocent back then was because it wasn't so public. Everything that was explicit was censored. And also, you can post everything online nowadays. On YouTube, Facebook, Tumblr. That's the reason why it's everywhere in this generation. A lot of people view spring break as a rite of passage, something that's supposed to be like a spiritual experience Yet this is what really happened. It may be not what happens in your spring break, but this does happen. This is what people do. This movie just exaggerates it and makes fun of it. The generations that your parents lived in, your grandparents lived in, it's not as innocent as they make it seem. Your parents probably didn't do any of that. Not everyone in every generation does. I don't even get that crazy. Every generation has their own group of spring breakers. I just get disappointed when parents, the older generation, oh, it never used to be this crazy back in my time. I'm surprised too. There are young people who are saying things like, oh man, I wish I was back in the 80s. It was so much better back then. I used to think that way. I used to listen to songs, old classic songs, and I think to myself, if only I lived back in the 80s for the music, if only I lived back in the 70s for the clothes. Every generation feels that the future generation is the apocalypse, the end of the world. It's human nature. I'm guilty of saying I miss the 90s. Now, look at the future generation. It's, man. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, it's so funny. I don't know. I want to bring up all the funny comments that people make about this movie just because they hate it. There's this comment about Spring Breakers where someone is mentioning, oh man, this movie sucks. It's gonna be a flop. And then they compare it to a big Hollywood movie. First of all, a flop means it failed. It failed in the box office. And obviously, it did not fail in the box office because it made twice as much as the budget. And second of all, it's like comparing apples to oranges. You're comparing an indie film to a big Hollywood budgeted movie. For an indie film, it did pretty dang well. Let me just say, this movie is controversial enough, is mixed in with artsy elements, and it's also mixed in with a little bit of porno. I don't know about you, but later on in the future, this can be considered a cult classic. This was by far one of the good films I've seen so far in 2013. It's up there on my list of one of my favorite movies. It's just something about this film. People connect with films differently, so don't judge me. A lot of people think that people who liked it are putting so much deep thought into a movie that is taking itself too seriously. I think you're looking too much into this and making it deeper than it really is. I don't think that I'm looking for a deeper meaning in this movie. Personally, I don't think I'm making it deeper than it really is because the concept is so evident in the movie. There's no secret code, and then people will be arguing back with me and saying, oh yeah, I can look at a piece of toilet paper and say something deep about it. It's there. The message is there. You just have to take time to understand it and appreciate it. Even if you don't like it, at least appreciate the movie for what it is. Not everyone is programmed to think that this movie is meant to be ironic. That's why a lot of people who come out of it don't really know what to think about it. Not everyone will connect with this movie the same as others. To some, it might be art. To some, it might be trash. Don't judge others just because you don't like the movie. It's kind of sad because I want others to see what I see. I want others to appreciate this film and like this film the way I do, but I can't because not everyone will like the same thing. You won't necessarily feel like you want to go to a party afterwards. All in all, if you haven't watched it yet, I do recommend this film. See what it's all about and base your opinions on what you see. Judge for yourself. I also love the ending of this movie. Although a lot of people say it's unrealistic, and I feel that it's intentionally supposed to be unrealistic, I love the ending. And I love movies, particularly artsy movies like this, because I love how it's left up to the individuals' interpretations and their respective backgrounds, how they bring new ideas, new thoughts into this movie to try to add things to it, to add multiple layers to it. And I love that about movies. And this is what, to me, personally, makes a good film. Come on. Do you really think a director who's made, pretty controversial movies before would really be making a movie that unrealistic, that ironic? For this specific movie, I feel like it's in an extreme. You either love it or you hate it. I just want to say, for people who do not watch the movie or for the future, do your research before you watch a movie. If it's something that you're interested in, at least research on the director, or find out what the film's about. Do something. Do some sort of research to find out what to expect. I feel that most of the people who went to watch the movie, they went in with a mindset of Project X, because it was everything but that type of movie. It was just a big shock. It was just everything thrown in their faces, and it wasn't what they expected. Because of the fact that it wasn't what they were expecting, some people liked it. Some people loved it. At the same time, because it was not what people expected, that was also the same reason why some people did not like it. I can go on and on and on and on analyzing this film to its roots. I don't want to do that unless you guys want me to. I might make another video about it, but I don't want to do that because this is supposed to be just a review. I already went off on different tangents already. What are your thoughts about this movie? Do you hate it? Do you love it? How did you feel after you watched the movie in the theater? Let me know what other movie I should review. What other movies I should see. What movies you hated. Let me know so I can review that, watch it, let you guys know how I felt about it. Let me know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.